The last time the White Sox started 3-0, Drop It Like It's Hot by Snoop Dogg came out and ushers My Confessions. This is crazy. And we're also recapping the week. And is this a young man's league? We're going to talk about it in this episode of the Dugout Dispatch. Happy Monday, everybody. The first 9 games of baseball, man, are in the books. And we got some great games coming up this week. Tyler, I mean, what a crazy first 9 games of baseball. To think that the Mariners would be sitting pretty much at the top of their league.
Yeah.
And the Chicago Cubs would be sitting at the bottom. And the San Francisco Giants, I looked on the wild card section of the MLB app. Man, I know it's rough for Red Sox fans, but the Giants are at the very bottom of the NL, and our beloved Cubs are 4th from the bottom.
I'm just trying not to freak out right now because our Cubbies are in the bottom of the barrel of the Central. We have potentially lost one of our better arms. I'm hoping it's just something small. Kate Horton, if you need my whole entire right forearm, man, it's right here.
Take it.
You can have it. Have the whole.
You can have it.
You don't even have to give anything back for it. Just we'll trade right now.
So many surprises, like the White Sox starting 3-0 at home.
I mean, they just swept the AL champions in the Blue Jays. So I mean, that's a plus. After they started their season off not so hot, and then to turn around and sweep the defending AL champs in the Blue Jays. That's crazy, man. That's a total
of 50 strikeouts their first 3 games.
That's nuts, dude. That's a nice thing for a young team coming off the last 2 to 3 seasons of just awful baseball, 100 loss seasons. What was it, 2 years ago? They broke the record for the most losses in a season. And then I think, did Colorado break that record last year? Maybe I could be wrong, but anyways, that's such a positive thing for a team in the White Sox that you guys just swept the Blue. And I get it, it's early, whatever, but for a young team like that, that's great. Who knows what could happen? You know, that could spark I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the White Sox are going to win the division now, but that could help start a more competitive team on the south side of Chicago for sure.
Yeah, and I remember going into the season, before Murakami was picked up, there was a lot of teams that just still had a big question mark on him, and they were kind of hesitant on if they wanted to sign him or take him on or not because they didn't know how he would play at the big league level. He has had some struggles at the plate, even over in Japan with strikeouts and whatnot, but of course the power potential is obviously there. And I can't help but replay one thing in my mind, Tyler, is seeing him and Shohei talk in the dugout during the WBC. Yes. And Shohei was showing him to keep his elbow up a little bit more. And then his next at bat, he's just went out there and just hit hard. And I just can't help but think, but just that little adjustment, because we've talked about it, some of these young players like Roman Anthony or PCA being around guys like Bryce Harper, Schwarber, Judd, what they'll take away from them picking their minds. Well, you switch over to Team Japan. Looks like Murakami spent his time wisely.
Yeah, when you can talk baseball with the greatest baseball player on planet Earth, that's definitely a plus. But hey, speaking of young players and teams sweeping and teams that didn't have such great 2025 seasons overall and sweeping teams, what about the Pirates too, dude? They swept the Baltimore Orioles, and you can say what you want about the Orioles. The Orioles are going to be a good team all year long, but dude, the Pirates, man, for another team, I don't want to sit here and say that they were just as bad as the White Sox, but for a team that finished in the bottom of the barrel last year in the NL Central, dude, the Pirates are looking good, man. That pitching staff they've got, so their starting pitchers have not given up a home run this year so far, which is crazy. And then again, our topic being young players, Connor Griffin getting called up on Friday, making his MLB debut, hitting I think he got a double as his first hit on Friday.
RBI double.
You've got O'Neal Cruz, who's just launching the ball, has a hard time playing a little defense out there, but he makes up for it. I want to say he has the hardest, what is it, the hardest hit rate or the hardest exit velo in baseball right now. He almost killed Chris Bassett, I believe, on Sunday with a line drive back right at him.
That was insane.
But yeah, the Pirates, another team that just shocking teams right now, sweeping the Orioles. I mean, and again, it's these young players for the most part. It's these young players on these teams that are doing this right now, at least this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, that's a great point that we're going to get into on this episode of the Dugout Dispatch is these young guys, our young stars taking over the league. Every year a new wave shows up and changes everything. So I tell you what, since we're on the Pirates, let's just start right out of the gate with the Pirates. So we got Connor Griffin making his debut. We just saw the debut of KG this weekend, and I'm telling you right now, man, this one feels different. You could feel it immediately. The moment wasn't too big for him. The speed, the confidence, the way he carried himself. It didn't look like, just a young guy getting his first taste of pro ball. It looked like someone who expects to be here at a whopping young age of 19 years old. And that's what separates prospects from future stars, because the tools, we already know about those: elite athleticism, power potential, defensive versatility. But what you're really watching, Tyler, in a debut like this is composure. How does he handle the moment? Does the game speed him up, or does he slow the game down? And this weekend, it looked like he slowed the game down. Now, let's be real. It's one debut. I get it. We've only had 9 games of baseball. Things are still early. We've seen guys flash early and disappear. This is true. But we've also seen the opposite. We've seen the debuts that feel like the start of something. So, Tyler, let me ask you, is Connor Griffin already ahead of the development curve, or are we am I overreacting to a debut?
Well, I'll say this. I would lean more towards he's ahead of it, because look at it this way. He's the first 19-year-old to make his debut since Bryce Harper. And we know how good Bryce Harper is. He's just got this calm composure about him, a guy that has excelled so far in the minor leagues. And Harold Reynolds talked to him after the game on Friday, and there was a play, obviously they talked about his hit, but there was a play where there was a ball hitting the gap, and just his placement in the field of what he did to get, granted the runner was safe, but he made the play closer than what it really was. And Harold just was talking to him about how impressed he was with where he knew where to be in that moment. And and Harold was saying stuff like, look, that's something I didn't learn until 3 or 4 years in the league. And it's something that, now on day one is impressive. Yeah, man. For them to, and this is the Pirates we're talking about, a team that has not been keen to extending players, signing large contracts and everything like that. But they give him a 9-year deal, Crazy. On day one of the major leagues. It just goes to show, back to being a young man's game and everything like that. A lot of organizations are taking these chances and rolling the dice on on these young players that they have high hopes of being. Connor Griffin, for example, being the franchise player of that team, they have high hopes that he can do that, and so they're willing to take the risk on that. And so far, I don't want to. I know it's just one series, but I just don't think you would call this guy up at 19 just to call him up to say, hey, we called up this 19. I think they see a lot in him, and a lot of players around the league do as well.
Yeah, man. And it's encouraging as a fan of baseball, to see all these young guys and to see a team like the Pirates specifically just to go out there and sign him, extend him, whatever, day one, lock it down. You saw the energy throughout the ballpark when he made his debut this past weekend. I think it was maybe close to a record-breaking crowd, if I remember correctly. But the fans were there. They were excited. I know Paul Skeens has got to be excited.
Yeah, wait till his first bobblehead day.
Oh, it's going to be
all the Paul Skeens fans can tell you about that. Like now, and
yeah.
It's so Pittsburgh Pirate, but they will have at least 2 bobbleheads, I guarantee you, of Connor Griffin this year, because they know they can sell the place out on bobblehead day.
Yeah, absolutely. And good on the Pirates, because the Pirates seems to be like one of those teams over the years. It's just a stopping place before guys move on to the Yankees or becomes a Dodger, or something like that. But
that sucks, Steve. You're right, but that sucks so bad, because if you've ever been to Pittsburgh and to that stadium, man, when that team is good, that place is awesome to play. The area around it is awesome to play, man. So I mean, you're right. You're totally right. It just sucks. That sucks.
Yeah. And, maybe, this is obviously given a lot of optimism to Pirates fans this season. It's given a lot of optimism, I can only imagine, to Paul Skeens. I mean, to make your MLB debut at 19 is one thing, but to make it at shortstop, like outside of pitching, you're like the quarterback of the team. You know what I mean?
That's a big freaking deal. Was the last teenager, I could be wrong on this, but was the last teenager to make their MLB debut at shortstop, was it A-Rod with the Mariners?
You may be right. When he was around 19?
He was 18 or 19, yeah. And he was a guy, and here's the thing about Connor. Connor Griffin's the same thing. Let's just say hypothetically he struggles in the first couple months. It is not the end of the world if he gets called back down to the minors. Ask Alex Rodriguez. When he got first called up, he went up and down. I could be wrong, but I think maybe almost 7 times. And A-Rod, I would say, wouldn't you say A-Rod turned out to be a pretty good player? He was all right, right?
He's all right.
And I'm not saying Connor Griffin's going to be Alex Rodriguez, but he could struggle, Steve. He could. And it's not going to be the end of the world, I don't think. But don't get me wrong. Yeah. It's the year of overreactions. I'm overreacting right now about my Cubs. So, of course, people will probably overreact if he does struggle early. But I just see a lot of good things in the future for the Pirates if Connor Griffin can even be just half of what he's been hyped up to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like I was saying a second ago, it's great to see as a fan of baseball overall, all these young guys popping off, but it feels a little, should I say, defeating, which seems, premature to say that for a lot of this to be going on in the NL Central. I made a tweet about it last night. So the first 9 games of baseball, I've obviously watched all the Cubs games, and I've pretty much watched all the other teams' games in our division, and at least a lot of highlights. And man, so far the Cubbies are definitely playing like the bottom of the NL Central. And it makes me a little nervous because this Saturday, I think, when we go back home, the Cubs will be playing the Pirates at Wrigley Field. The Reds are looking good. They've got, some stuff figured out this season. Brewers are doing what the freaking Brewers do every dang year. And one of the bigger surprises, too, has been the Cardinals. How they've just kept putting at-bats together and making defensive plays and pulling these wins out of nowhere. It makes no sense. I think they had a comeback win this weekend, too. It's just, I don't know, man.
It's going to be it's going to be a dogfight. It really is. We can say preseason, it was easy for all of us to sit here and look at the roster and be like, yeah, man, Cubs easy. And honestly, in my opinion, I still think it's the Brewers division until the Brewers show us that they're not the Brewers anymore.
It has been for 8 years.
But the Cubs are like, at least on paper before the season started, was like right there with them. But these young players on the Cardinals, on the Reds, on the Pirates, they're a major part of the reason why this division is going to be such a dogfight all season long. And
Absolutely.
you bringing up the Pirates coming to Wrigley this weekend, man. You look at that rotation when the Pirates, Bubba Chandler, Paul Skeens,
Mitch Keller,
and those other, there's another guy right now that's doing, I can't think of his name, that throws like 104. Yeah. It's a little scary, Steve. It's a little scary, but yeah, back to your original just the original point. It definitely has in the past 5 years has just turned into a complete young man's game for sure.
Yeah, and it
Not
feels like
not to say that veterans, obviously you've got to have your veterans in the clubhouse, but overall, you're going to see team, and we've seen it in the past, teams have taken more of a risk or a chance on hanging on to those young players. 10 years ago, it was nothing to trade a lot of these young players for those proven veteran guys and everything like that. Just ask the White Sox. They traded Fernando Tatis Jr. in a deal for James Shields because they needed a guy, they needed a quote unquote veteran. And so we got all these young guys. But now I feel like with just the advancement in training and technology and projections and all this information we have now, it's almost like they can look at this player, throw him in this machine and be like, this is what he's going to be in 4 years. And teams, one, obviously, because of the cheap price tag, you've got basically a 5 to 6 year hold on them no matter what. Teams are more willing to hang on to those young players in hopes that one of them is going to sprout into something just great instead of spending veteran type money on a player. That's why I feel like, and we're almost getting close to the cusp, like to the end of it, but the days of the kind of quote unquote random players that weren't bad but weren't excellent sticking around in the league for 10 plus years, we may not see that much anymore in the next five years.
That's true, man. That's very true. And
I mean, obviously guys like Mike Trout. Mike Trout can play in the league as long as he wants. And other players as well. But the days of like the random guys that stuck in the league for 10 plus years because they were quote unquote, veterans, it wouldn't in the next 5 years, if not now, you're not going to see much of that, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to break this down and get into it and talk about a couple of hitters, couple of pitchers, and go back and forth on that. But before we do that, we got to give some credit just real quick, and then we're going to shift gears back into these young players taking over MLB right now. Before we do that, though, we got to give some credit where credit is due, because I don't think I've ever seen this in a game from this past weekend.
I know
Jo Adell, baby, went off defensively. We got to talk about Jo Adell just for a quick second this weekend, because this wasn't normal. This was video game stuff, Tyler. 3 home runs robbed in one weekend against the Mariners. Think about that. That's not just one highlight play. That's 3 game-changing moments where he straight up took runs off the board. And this is the same guy, mind you. Not long ago, people were questioning defensively. Now he's tracking balls at the wall, timing jumps perfectly, and making plays that flip entire games. That's the kind of stuff, man, that doesn't always show up in the box score, but it wins games. And here's the bigger takeaway. If Jo Adell is giving you elite defense and even average offense, now you're talking about a completely different player, because the talent has always been there with Joe. The question was consistency. So now the conversation becomes, is this a breakout moment or just a hot weekend? Real quick, your thoughts on this?
I think he's always had that potential to be this good. The former Louisville Cardinal, by the way.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, played for Louisville and was a top draft pick. I want to say he was first or second round. He may have been first round in the draft, 2019 maybe. But he's always had the bat. He has. I think last season he hit over 30 home runs last year. He struggled early, like in 2020. When he first was up in the league, he struggled early. He had his moments of trying, and they were talking about it yesterday, like him trying to rob. I want to say 2 to 3 separate times in 2020, he would try to rob a ball and it bounced over. And I think twice that happened to him. And so and that's a difficult play anyways, but people had questioned his defensive ability. But man, this season, dude, and not just this, last year as well, but it's never happened. It's incredible for I think that's
insane.
In my opinion, that's more impressive than hitting 3 home runs in a game. That
yeah,
he single-handedly 3 separate times saved their team from being down a run or tied. Saved the game in the night at the end there. But there's never been a player ever to have two home run robberies in one game, let alone 3. The only thing that's ever came close to that was in 2011 for the I believe it was for the the Cleveland Indians. Well, Guardians, but Indians at the time. I cannot remember his name. He was in left field, possibly Austin Kearns. I can't remember. But 3 exact plays back to back to back in the same inning where he jumped up against the wall and made the same catch literally 3 times. That's the only thing. But those weren't home runs. But that's the only thing that's ever even came remotely close to this. But yeah, Steve, that was just impressive. And hats off to the fan in right field in the night for that last one to catch the photo of the year for her to
that's
just
the best.
Pull it out, which it's crazy, I got to pull my phone out. But I mean, in that instance, I would have too, because I mean, that picture is going to be on a poster on people's backgrounds everywhere for years.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I should have grabbed it. I don't have it pulled up, but yeah, that picture where they're standing behind him.
He's standing there just with the glove up like that. And people can say, oh, well, they need to change the rule to football and need to have both feet in. I'm sorry, dude. But if you make that catch diving into the stands and your feet leave the field, I don't care. Like,
me neither.
Could you imagine just him coming back over after that whole thing and like, no catch?
Oh,
like the moment's gone. Like,
I'd be
come on,
so
dude.
mad.
It's almost like we know you caught it, but there's going to be an asterisk beside it because it technically wasn't. Like, I'm so glad they did not overturn that.
Exactly. Or like Wrigley Field and right field. It's like, oh, that didn't count because you hit the wall first. Or I mean, dude, there's no room there. Yeah, I'm with you. A catch is a catch. I don't care if you got both feet in or not, because people don't understand, unless you played baseball or watched a lot of baseball, how hard it is to do that. So I'm with you. But now shifting gears back to young stars taking over the league to pick up where you left off, Tyler. It seems like these kids right now, 25 and younger, man, that's what's interesting to me. And there's something happening, guys, in Major League Baseball right now. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. This is no longer a veterans league. Dare I say that? This is becoming a young man's game. And I'm not talking about prospects coming up and just figuring it out anymore. I'm talking about young players, Tyler, stepping into the league and immediately becoming the guy, like we've seen so far with Connor Griffin. Small sample size, I know, but like we've seen this past weekend. Again, coming and playing shortstop at 19 years old. That's crazy. I remember what I was doing at 19 years old. I'm sure you do too. But like day one impact, so no adjustment period, no waiting your turn, no earning it over 3 or 4 seasons. These dudes are showing up and taking jobs, man. And what's crazy is it's not just 1 or 2 guys. It's a full wave, right? You're seeing young hitters with elite bat speed, power, discipline, already looking like a 10-year vet at the plate. You're seeing pitchers throwing 98 with command, not just velocity anymore. They're not just throwing hard. They actually know how to pitch, and teams are trusting them immediately. That's the shift, because it used to be you had to earn playing time. Veterans got the benefit of the doubt. Young guys had to slowly climb, right? Now, if you can play, baby, you can play. If you produce, you stay. And if you don't, someone younger is coming to take your spot. Just how it is. That pressure is changing the entire league right now. And I think a big part of this is development. Players are coming up more prepared than ever before. Better training, better analytics, better understanding of their own swing, their own mechanics, their approach. They're not raw anymore. They're polished. And it's forcing organizations to change how they build teams. Because now you've got a real question, Tyler. Do you invest heavy in veterans, or do you ride the upside of young stars on the rookie deals? Because let's be real here for a second, guys. The teams that figure this out first, they win. You get elite production at a fraction of the cost. Look at the Brewers. And now you can build around that. But here's where it gets interesting. Not every young player sustains it. We've all seen hot starts fade. We've seen hype die off. So the real question becomes, which of these young guys are actually the future of the league and which ones are just having a moment? Because there's a difference. And if you're, if you're a front office person or even just a fan trying to figure out your team like we are, that's the question you better get right. Because right now, the league is getting younger, faster, and more aggressive. And the players that can't keep up, they get replaced. Tyler, what do you think? Is this shifting more and more to a young man's league?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I get it as a veteran. Nobody as an older guy, nobody likes seeing some young kid come in and take your spot. Some young kid, do things, and we're in this time of like, that's not the way we did it back in my day, that type of stuff. You're going to have those people. And so I get it on one end of veterans just saying like paying your dues and stuff. But dude, you got to look at it obviously from a money standpoint, an owner's standpoint. I'm sorry, but as an owner, if I own a team and I'm trying to get the best out of my team, I could care less if a player paid his dues or not. I know that sounds bad, but
Pirates don't care.
If I have this 19, 20-year-old kid throwing, 98, 99 miles an hour that can hit the zone, hit the spots and everything like that, I'm sorry, but I'm taking him over that 12-year vet that maybe he's not the player that he was. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a place for that. There is. But if I'm having to pick or choose, I'm sorry. And as much as that sucks to say, because, as an older person, it would suck seeing a young guy come in and just take your spot.
Without, and it's coming.
Without quote unquote paying his dues. But
right. And like it's coming. Everyone's days is numbered in pro sports.
And the game is in a different time now. And it's not, it's what have you done for me lately? What can you do for me right now? And used to back in the day, contracts are based off what did you do in the past? When now it's what can you do for me right now and in the next 5 years? And
absolutely.
It's sad. I get it. Older players, especially, being upset about that, but it is what it is. And you're trying to grow the game. You're trying to get younger and younger and younger fans into this game and excited and just really wanting to watch this sport. That's how you get young players, young, exciting players with these 98, 99 mile an hour fastballs, with these O'Neill Cruz 200 mile an hour exit velocity bombs, Elly De La Cruz diving, Pete Crow Armstrong looking like Superman in center field. That's how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tyler, I want to throw a couple of names at you for us to talk about with everybody that's listening to us here. Got a couple batters, got a couple of pitchers, just to prove the point, of these young bucks, if you will. And all these guys are pretty much 25 and younger. Starting right out of the gate, Bobby Witt Jr., man. I mean, speed, power, defense, the full package. MVP upside every single year. Out of all these young hitters, is he the most complete young player in the league?
For sure. He's the definition of a five-tool player. He's been there, done that, proven it. Finished second to Aaron Judge the year before last. I have him as my MVP this year. I think he's going to win the AL MVP this year. And that's a lot saying. I get it. Judge is arguably the greatest right-handed hitter we've ever seen since probably Albert Pujols. But I think Bobby Witt, like he's 25, and I think he's going to do it this year. And I mean, I don't see anything at all. Now, granted, he hasn't had an extra base hit so far this year, but it's only 9 games. I think he's going to pick it up. I think he's going to be all right. But he, out of everybody, he is the most complete as far as 25-year-old out of anybody, I think.
He's just so fun to watch, man. I mean, the glove and the bat. He has it. He has it all. It's insane. Gunnar Henderson, power plus versatility plus swagger. already producing at an elite level. Is he the best young infielder in baseball right now?
I mean, behind Bobby Witt Jr.
Behind Bobby Witt?
Yeah, for sure. He's the guy. Like, if Bobby Witt Jr. is right here, Gunnar Henderson is just like
a very close second.
What last year for him stunk because he started off the season on the injured list. It took him a minute to get things back together and everything, but you saw what he can be at the end of last year and into the WBC this year. But he's another guy that for the Orioles to get where they want to be, for the Orioles to be in a World Series window right now, Gunnar Henderson is the guy. And a lot of people were saying it was Adley Rutschman, but I think Gunnar Henderson easily took that over for Baltimore, especially the season before last. But yeah, if Bobby Witt Jr. is number one as far as infielders, Gunnar Henderson's right at shortstops anyways. He is a very, 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 very close second. And people forget too, he can run very well too. He can get you 30 stolen bases. And we forget about that sometimes because Bobby Witt Jr. is, just
doing
right there doing what he does. Gunnar Henderson's right there too.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Third one I got for you and for everybody, Julio Rodríguez. He's an electric five-tool player, face of the league potential. Is he the next true MLB global superstar, would you say?
He could be. He's got this crazy contract that if he maxes out his contract, if he ends up maxing out that contract that he signed with Seattle, I believe it was 3 seasons ago. Yes, then he is definitely a global. He could be at least in the DR and everything like that. But he's a guy last year. The season before wasn't so great. Had a down year, but last year I want to say he had a 30-30 year, and just almost kind of quiet mainly because of Cal Raleigh was hitting 60+ home runs last year. But he's another guy that he can be he is the superstar of that team. But he's a guy that playing in Seattle kind of stinks because most of your games are when half the country's asleep. But if you watch him play, you're not going to go to sleep because he is just as good as any center fielder in the league. When he's hitting the ball right, there's nobody better in center. But yeah, and then you saw in the WBC, that catch he had off of Aaron Judge's ball in center field, dude. That's just a taste of what J-Rod can do
potential
every single day.
And I love that he's got.
And I want to say he his deal, it was a almost a hometown discount. Now, granted, there's catches in it that it could bump up to. It's something ridiculous. But I say ridiculous, but it's something very doable for J-Rod.
Yeah, let me look that up real quick.
Yeah,
he signed a 12-year, $209 million contract extension with the Mariners on
I think $200 million for J-Rod.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He got a $15 million signing bonus too, fully guaranteed for the base structure, which annually that's approximately around $17.4 million.
It all bumps up, yeah.
So good for him, man.
Like
and that's I want to say,
like, it's like if he gets MVP votes, if he gets All-Star selections, it's all kinds of stuff. It bumps up to even more. But yes, that's a good one because I hate to say it, but I think sometimes he gets forgotten about.
Yeah. And we'll see what happens this year. It seems like for like the young superstar center fielder, it was PCA's year last year. He's in his sophomore year this year. You have to expect some regression. We'll see if it's J-Rod's year this year. Things ebb and flow and come in waves. But moving right along to some pitchers. Hunter Green, triple digit heat, plus improved command. I know he's on the IL right now, but if you look at his career stats through his first 4 season with 91 starts, his record is 25-29. Not too bad. His career ERA is 3.65. Innings pitched is 495 innings. He's got 617 strikeouts. His whip is sitting at a 1.14. 617 Ks and under 500 innings. That's elite swing and miss stuff. That's over 11 K /9 pace. It's insane. He's consistently throwing 100 plus miles an hour. One of the hardest throwers in MLB, and seems like he's trending up, right? Recent seasons show improvement. Example with a 2.76 ERA. Last year ending the season. Zero, this is important, 0.94 whip in 2025. Hunter Greene isn't just a flamethrower anymore. He's becoming a complete pitcher. Early career equals velocity plus inconsistency, right? But now equals command improving plus ace level flashes. What do you think about Hunter Greene, Tyler?
Dude, I thought before he landed on the IL before the season started, I thought he was going to be a legit Cy Young candidate behind Paul Skeens. He's a guy that when he's on, he is on.
He's on fire.
Wouldn't want to face him in a playoff series. Wouldn't want to face him at the end of the season when we're in a playoff race. Because Hunter Greene,
and don't look at his start against the Dodgers last year. I can understand. I'm pretty sure he's from California. First playoff appearance, from my understanding. He's playing kind of in his home state, close to his home area. You're going to have nerves and jitters, but hopefully that'll galvanize him for later on in his career if they make the playoffs.
But dude, Hunter Greene is a top of the rotation type arm. As much as it pains me to say, he's a guy that I would love to have on my team for sure. But yeah, just a guy that if he can bounce back, I want to say he's back like at the end of July or sometime then. Look out, because he's one of the best. He really is.
He is, man. We'll see what happens. I've heard rumors about him coming back. Could be around the end of July, maybe August. We'll see what happens for him, but hope his recovery process goes well. Next up I got is Eury Perez, ace level stuff at a crazy young age, man. Here are Eury Perez's MLB stats through his career stats. Check this out. 35 starts, record is 10-8. Career ERA is 3.15. Innings pitched 187. Strikeout set at 214. His whip is 1.112. 214 Ks in under 190 innings. That is a 10.3 K rate as a teenager in his early 20s. Upper 90s fastball, plus slider and changeup combo. Already missing bats at a high level, man. Debuted at 20 years old and already pitching like a mid-rotation arm with ace upside. He isn't just a young pitcher. He's ahead of the development curve. Most guys his age, man, are still in the minors. He's already getting big league hitters out consistently. It's crazy. Would you rather build around Eury Perez or Hunter Greene?
Oh, if I had to pick,
that's a tough question.
If I had to pick between the two, I'm taking Hunter Greene. But Eury Perez is the reason that the Marlins, I feel like the Marlins are going to be a playoff contender this year. He's nasty, dude. So nasty. And he's a guy that I know a lot of teams last season was dancing around in trade talks along with Edward Cabrera. But yeah, he's another guy that he is the reason the Marlins are going to be in the at the very least, the wild card chase at the end of the year. But yes, you're 22 years old, dude. That's crazy. But the Marlins have a history of producing young pitchers between him and Edward Cabrera, Sandy Alcantara a few years ago. People forget Jose Fernandez in the 2010s. Rest in peace. But this is nothing new from the Marlins organization as far as when it comes to producing pitchers like that.
Absolutely, I agree. Up next, I got for you Grayson Rodriguez. His career stats, man, 43 starts so far. He's 20-10 on his record. His ERA is 3.68. Innings pitched is 238. He's got 246 strikeouts. His whip sits at 1.23. Strikeout ability, man, that's what stands out to me. Over a strikeout per inning, swing and miss stuff translates to the MLB. He's got it. Mid to upper 90s fastball, plus changeup, developing breaking stuff. Early struggles, that's true. major second half bump last year. Looked like a completely different pitcher once he settled in. Grayson Rodriguez may be the next true ace to emerge from this young pitcher's wave. True or false? What do you think?
I don't know. It's tough to say now that he's with the Angels, and the Angels have just been so bad at producing pitchers. He looked like he had potential in Baltimore. It sucked to see him get hurt when he did, because the Baltimore really could have used him last year. I don't know. He's a guy that's going to have to show me something this year in LA. And if he can do it in LA with the Angels, then yeah, okay, then all right, yeah, you're definitely an ace for sure. But he's got to prove it to me, man. And don't get me wrong, he had success early with Baltimore when he first came up. I just got to see it. I just got to see it longer.
Yeah, I'm with you. We'll see what happens, because like you said, sometimes pitchers don't fare the best over there, but
sure.
maybe the pitching lab, they've got something figured out, and with that pitching staff, we'll see what happens. Tyler, is there any other notable names that you'd like to include in the 25 and under club?
Got, a couple of pitchers, two of them I don't even want to praise them right now because they're in our division, but one for sure. I mean, obviously we've got the main dudes, the Skeens for sure, but that's obvious. Jacob Mizorowski, freaking 22 years old. I can't stand that guy, but
Trey Savage,
man, when he's hitting his spots, he's unhittable. Just ask the two teams that he's faced this year so far. He is nasty. Chase Burns, he's another guy that I feel like on that red rotation that's going to be really good. And then as far as another pitcher, Jack Leiter of the Rangers. He's 25 years old, came up in 2024, struggled a little bit. Last year had almost 30 starts and did pretty good. So far, he's thrown 11 innings with 17 strikeouts. Really impressive. And as far as young guys, obviously guys like Corbin Carroll, yeah, for sure. That guy's amazing.
Logan Gilbert or Cole Reagans.
A guy so far this season won the Rookie of the Year last year, and so far he's on a good note. Drake Baldwin of the Atlanta Braves. I think he's one of the reasons why that Braves team is doing so good right now. And he is a guy
the other night.
Yeah, playing with and it helps that he has Sean Murphy catching as well, showing him the ropes. But he's crushing the ball right now, and he's a guy that the Braves, the Braves, they are good about locking down their young talent. They are probably the primetime team that has just shown exactly, quote unquote, how it's done when it comes to taking a chance on young players and then mixing them in with a few veterans. But their whole entire lineup has at least at one time was signed at very young ages with longer deals. And so far the last year wasn't the best, but you could blame that on their pitching being hurt. And they've just proven just about year in, year out with these young guys and what they do. It works. It works. But yeah, Drake Baldwin, man, he's a guy that I'm definitely watching right now.
Absolutely. And, just a couple others, maybe not even in the 25 and under club, but under 30, you got Ronald Acuna Jr. talking about the Braves there, MVP quality type guy, 40-70 type player, face of baseball for sure. Juan Soto, generational plate discipline.
People forget, I think power. He's 26. I think, wait a minute.
I think he's 26 or 27.
That's so crazy too. People, 27. He'll turn 28 at the end of this year, October 25th. But people he's been in the league for, let me just see real quick, since 2018, dude, 2018, and played over 100 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is that? 10 over 10 years? Golly, man. People forget that. And he's just 27 years old. He debuted at 19.
Yeah.
That's who it was. Yeah. But
Elly De La Cruz, Elly has arguably the highest ceiling in the sport. Of course,
man, I talked to, which you do too, but we talked to a few guys at the gym about Elly. We got a couple of Reds fans that go to the same gym we do, and we had the same conversation, man. If Elly De La Cruz can cut down on the strikeouts and just get on base more, whether that's putting the ball in play or drawing more walks, dude, he's going to be an MVP candidate. He's going to you don't have to hit 300, Elly. Just put the ball in play. You put the ball in play, man, with your speed. It's you're golden, dude.
Yeah.
And if he
did it this weekend.
Man, if he does that, he's going to be an MVP caliber player. Unfortunately for our Cubs, but yeah, man, he's a guy that he's right. He's on the cusp if he can just break through that barrier.
Yeah. Some other notable names, batters, Corbin Carroll, who I think you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Of course, Gunner, Fernando Tatis Jr., Adley Rutschman. And on the pitching side, you got Spencer Strider, Corbin Burns, Zach Gallen, Logan Webb, Tarek Skubal, who's under 30, believe that or not, George Kirby, Cole Reagan. So the future of baseball, man, is definitely bright. We'll see who has a long career, who ends up being the face of the league. Tyler, before we jump off, any final thoughts you want to hit the people with this Monday morning?
Man, it may have been a rough nine games for some people. Just try your best not to over panic. I mean, I guess unless you're a Red Sox fan, because dude, that's rough right now. That is so rough.
That's rough. Rough for the Giants too.
But man, it's baseball. It comes in waves. And right now, most of us maybe just be riding a bad wave right now. But let's just hope it clears, Steve. Let's just hope it clears.
I'm optimistic, especially for our team, obviously, because I think Cubs haven't started 4-5 since like 2021, I think I read. But if you notice, like the past 3 seasons at least, they'll be hot for like the first month or two of baseball. And then we always fall apart after the All-Star break and we can't get it going. And as we're starting to get momentum going, maybe at the end of the dog days, trying to get into the playoff runs, it's like we don't get momentum enough. So maybe it'll be the opposite, so that kind of gives me optimism where maybe we'll have a slower April, maybe May, and we'll get hotter towards the end of the season like the Brewers did last year and other teams, because that's really the time to get hot. It's frustrating right now in the short term, but I don't know. Kind of gives me optimism. Coffee I'm drinking this morning. I'm trying a different kind of Colombian blend from the grocery store. But that's going to do it for us on this episode of the Dugout Dispatch. Hey, we're going to be right here with you all season long. Tyler's going to hold my hand. I'm going to hold his.
Reaching out.
Bro love. Baseball bro love. We're going to
need it. We're going to need it this year, man. But hey, look at it this way.
We're going to need it.
I'd rather it be this way than like this one team be good and the rest all just suck.
Absolutely.
This makes it more exciting. Makes our heart rate go up. Makes our blood pressure go up.
Longer, but it has a better story than any sport, any professional sport. So we're going to be right here with everybody along for the ride. Make sure you like, comment, tell us in the comment section if we're crazy. If I'm crazy, Tyler's not. He's got great takes. Me, question mark. The jury is still out. Make sure you subscribe. Check us out on Instagram, Dugout Dispatch, X, all that good stuff. And we'll see you later.
Later.